Today I want to talk about the results of James's neuro-psych eval. It's me and all 5 kids here, and hopefully this doesn't look too weird. The light kind of feels weird. I have a brand new light because my other light died. So I'm finally back in this room, which is the room I usually film in. It's tiny, I can almost touch the walls. The light feels kind of weird. I'm hoping it's not gonna look weird, but let's give this a try. And I'm trying this without my microphone because I feel like the sound is a lot worse with my microphone. Oh yeah, and this is gonna be the first video with the green hair that I did last night while I was waiting to hear about how the election went. So yeah, it is green. I know some of these probably get comment on that and notice because it is kind of a big change, but one of my special interests of the moment, thanks ADHD, because my special interests, I have the long-term ones and the ones that jump around a lot. I think this is a jump around a lot, and we'll see how long it sticks around, is dyeing my hair. I like playing with it and doing different things to it. And I did green because I promised James I would do green, and I wanted to do it before his birthday, but I didn't get it done before the 13th. So here it is 2 weeks late. James is very excited about this color, and I actually like it a lot too. I spent hours while the boys were doing school picking out colors, and it took me about 5 hours last night to do this, surprisingly. But I finally got it done, and thankfully it distracted me because I was really stressed out. I spent hours counting up different combinations of electoral votes, figuring out how things could go. I'm not going to talk about that though. We're talking about James right now, not hair, not electoral votes, not waiting for results, which is what's still happening right now. To give you a timeline of when I'm doing this, I'm not sure when this video will go up, hopefully today because I haven't posted a video in 2 days since that Christmas video. And for everyone who's asked, why do I get Christmas shopping done so early? Anxiety, that's why. But let's go on. James. So, as you know, if you've been here more than once probably, but for anyone who's new here, my name's Cami and I'm autistic. My husband's autistic. 4 of our 5 children are autistic, and if you watch the Christmas video you may already know this, but it's actually not official yet, but James had his neuro-psych eval. When I actually went to our doctor originally, first actually I went to some various therapists. I talked to them, then I talked to his doctor. I had actually talked to, I think, my doctor first. And the question that I was asking was, do you think that a neurotypical child would have a lot of meltdowns, maybe multiple meltdowns a day, from living in a house full of autistic people? Because I felt like maybe he was just really frustrated from being surrounded by autistic people and being neurotypical, because it didn't seem to me like, I didn't think he was. He is just so incredibly charismatic. When we would go out in public, it was like there wasn't a stranger in the universe. He had a lot of doctor's appointments because he just has always had a lot of doctor's appointments, neuro, gastro, just lots of doctors, orthopedic surgeon. He's had lots of doctors since he was very, very small, but they were more like for physical things, like the right side of his body has always been weaker than the left. He has PT for that, without explanation. Like, they've done so many tests. He finally had his EMG this year, and there's just no reason for it. It just is significantly weaker. Like, he could hop on the left side of his body for a very long time, but not at all on the right side. He can stand on the left side for a very long time, not on the right side. I knew he was going to be left-handed when he was like 18 months old, because his left side was just so strong and his right side he just didn't use. But there's not a reason that they can find for it. But he talked. He didn't have a speech delay. He's the only kid in our family without a speech delay. And he just charms everyone. If we're in an elevator, he will look over at someone and see that their sweater's a bright color, and he'll say, "I like your sweater." Or he'll notice someone's hair is styled nicely, and they'll say, "Hey, I like your hair." Say the checker at the market is really grumpy, and he'll say, "Hey, you're doing a great job. Hey, you're doing a great job at your job. You're really good at this." He just singles out everything about anyone he comes in contact with, and he compliments people everywhere. And when he was like 4, we tried so hard to teach him about, you know, stranger danger and what's the other part that's not stranger danger, but the thing that you do now about people who, I can't remember the thing that we do now that's not stranger danger that I can't think of at this moment. Anyways, we tried so hard to kind of like instill that we don't just talk to every single person that we come across, and it wouldn't stick. There were so many books, and it was like every person he saw was the best friend in the world. I really thought that he was just my super extroverted, neurotypical child, and that things would just be really easy for him. He has a temper, and when he went to school, there was kind of jokes around the house about how he was going to be the kid that I was called in to for the principal's office, the vice principal's office, and that I would be there all the time for him. And I did sort of expect that. And I went to the first parent-teacher conference, hesitant and worried, mostly about his parent-teacher conference and how that would play out. I was ready to hear some stories. And I walked in and asked the teacher how he was doing behaviorally, because his preschool teacher-parent conferences had had some concerns in the past. In kindergarten, the teacher said he was perfect, that he was a little bit shy. He was absolutely perfectly behaved, and he was doing wonderfully, and his work was amazing. And I was like, James? Which is horrible, because I don't want to be that parent who's like, what, my kid? I felt like the parents in Matilda. I mean, what? I expected there to be problems, and there was like nothing once we got to kindergarten, because every day there were meltdowns at home. Which is why I thought it was like, just because that it was like an autistic kid who's living with neurotypical parents, that he's neurotypical and he's living with an autistic family, and that's got to be stressful, right? It's got to be stressful. But then I started talking to therapists and doctors, and they were like, I don't think so. And he does think very, very literally, which was part of the problems. Like some of the things he would get upset about would be like, Patrick said he could fly once, and he got very, very angry. No, you can't fly. But he can make things up, just not other people. We went for the testing. I already talked about the testing, how we discovered he could read at the testing, and I already knew that he could do math at like above the end of the first grade level. Just as a little story. Today I was getting him to do his math and his reading homework, which was like counting to 10 I got out some second grade flashcards for math. And I was getting him to do his reading and his math by bribing him that if he did this, then he could do math flashcards. And I would hold up the math flashcards and let him do 6, because he's 6 years old now, in exchange for doing his kindergarten homework, because he just turned 6. So he's in kindergarten now. So or it'll be like at the end of the day, we'll do Norwegian on Duolingo if he is well behaved and just does his kindergarten work like he needs to, which are like motivators, 2 big motivators to get him to do his work without complaining that it's baby work. And that kind of gives him like a challenge, and then he really quickly gets through his work without complaining. And the doctor at the testing thought that that was probably the difference between preschool and kindergarten, that why he had behavioral problems in preschool and not kindergarten was that when he got to kindergarten, it was actually a challenge. When he was in kindergarten last year, because he's young, he's in kindergarten twice. That's kind of how it is in Michigan. Since his birthday is before December, he was going to be in kindergarten twice always. They have K-Club and then kindergarten. They think that that was why he had no behavioral problems last year in kindergarten, because he was challenged last year. Right now, keeping him challenged is very important, especially this year when we're all at home and things are just a little bit different. I did not expect him to have an ADHD diagnosis, but it did come back that he has ADHD. Unlike me, Sadie, and Patrick, he does not have combined type ADHD. He has the impulsive type. He does not have the inattentive type. So that's probably why school is so easy for him. He scored high across the board in everything academic, which wasn't really surprising after seeing how that test went. And then there was some oppositional stuff, and that wasn't really surprising. I guess that's pretty typical for a 6-year-old from what everyone has said. And honestly, I think that if we weren't in the US, there would be probably like a PDA, I think that's what it's called, diagnosis there, for places that diagnose that. But because we're in the US, that is not. I wish that was like more of a thing that was talked about here in the United States. They're going wild. We had a warm day today, and so the kids were running around outside screaming and having fun. What was the rest? The doctor also began by telling me that she was certain that he is on the autism spectrum. He has not had his ADOS yet. From the neuro-psych evaluation, she said, with the way that he thinks, and from her neuro-psych evaluation, she said that she was certain, but that she cannot officially give him that diagnosis until she completes the ADOS. But that she had no doubt after the first part of the 3-hour neuro-psych eval, and from the questionnaires and from everything else that she had gathered, that he was going to have that diagnosis by the end of the ADOS. So it's not official yet, but that is where we are at this point in time. It sounds like it is all 5 of us. I was so surprised by the ADHD thing. I think because the inattentive piece. He doesn't even seem that hyper to me, but Sadie sets the bar pretty high for hyper. And I guess he is impulsive, so I can see that. But yeah, so that is the update after the neuropsych testing. I'm excited to have the ADOS done and just have it done. We've had so many appointments lately. It's like after everyone started having appointments, it just added up because we hadn't been to appointments in so long. So that is the latest. That is the update from James. This kind of is come full circle. It's not what I expected at all. When I started this channel, I did not expect it to be an autism channel. It was kind of just a fun thing that I was doing, and it has really been quite the journey of learning a lot about ourselves, I think, since this started. And I'm really grateful for it, because I don't know that we would have gotten here if we hadn't started this, because I've learned so much along the way. But that's it for today. If you like this video, we'd love it if you give it a thumbs up, and if you're interested in all things autism, we would love it if you'd hit subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.